Okay, let's switch sports a little bit. Why don't we do baseball? Because baseball, growing up, I was a little kid at the time, but my favorite Dodger in the 60s by far was Sandy Koufax. And, I mean, he was 65, 66, 67, phenomenal. And I mean, I knew a lot of people in the neighborhood who saw him throw a no-hitter. I never did, but they'd say, "Yeah, I went to that one, I went to this." I mean, he was just dominant, and it was fun to watch. And he seemed like a gentleman. He seemed like a good guy. Little known fact, he was a phenomenal college basketball player. He was a real good hoops player. But boy, it was fun to watch him in the 60s. 70s, the Dodgers are really good, but I was never a big fan of the Lopes, Russell, Say, Garvey gang. I mean, I liked them. They were okay. I liked Reggie Smith. Reggie Smith was a phenomenal hitter, great switch hitter, good player. Another guy. He wasn't from Compton. I think he's from Centennial, so he's from the area. And he was always one of my favorites. But how
Toy
about your
Cannon,
favorite?
man. Toy
Oh,
Cannon.
and I forgot to say this one because this was going back to football. One of my favorite Rams back in the day was a guy from Long Beach, who St. Anthony's, who the rumor was he dated the girl across the street, Notre Dame, Jack Snow, whose son has to be one of your
JT.
favorites, right? JT, big time giant.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like JT. This is kind of a different, you know, era, but I mean, I like JT when I first becoming a fan of his when he got traded from the Yankees to the Angels, and we were living in Long Beach. So I was watching JT Snow that first year. I think I went to like 30 some odd games. Like I've told this story before. We had the company had season tickets to both the Angels and Dodgers, and everybody wanted the Dodger tickets. And I would just go, every day. Hey, those tickets available, and almost every day they were ready to go. So I was going. I was taking, my son Nathan, who was just he was a little kid at the time, 4 or 5 years old, and we'd go to, sat right behind home plate, 4 seats up, seats 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'd go to the Angel games and we'd watch, those early JT Snow, Tim Salmon, Darren Erstad, Garrett Anderson. You had Chuck Finley, Mark Langston, Jim Abbott. Those were some fun teams to watch. They just couldn't figure it out until a little bit later. But no, my guy, the first guy that I liked for whatever reason, because the Giants were terrible. Those late 70s, early 80s Giants team were not good. And so the bright spot was always Greg Minton. Greg Minton
Great
was
man.
like,
Wow.
yeah, Mr. Moon, Moon Man. But 1986, Mississippi State,
All right.
you know, Will Clark, The Thrill, Robbie Thompson, like those. Will Clark's my guy. Like Will
Mississippi
Clark's my
State
favorite.
must have had a good team because they had Rafael Palmeiro also, right?
Palmero, Jeff
That
Brantley, Bobby
that's a
Thigpen.
wow. Did they win the World Series? World Series? They should have.
No, they actually lost. I can't remember who they lost to. I'll look that up. But yeah, that was my team. And so you talk about things that I really remember. So there's two plays I want to talk to Will Clark about if he ever feels like we're big time enough. The first one is his rookie year. He's running down the line in Montreal, and Andres Galarraga gives him the business a little bit on infield chopper that Will almost beats for a base hit, but he's out, and he gets a little bit of the business from. And the big cat's called the big cat for a reason. That was a big dude. Like even in his rookie year, like he's a big guy, and it's not like Will Clark's small, but I mean big cat was called that for a reason. And Will separated his elbow in that play, and so he was injured, a big portion of his rookie year. And then a couple years later, Will's coming home hard around third base, and another big boy, a guy I just can't stand, Mike Scioscia,
Yeah,
gives Will the business at home plate.
yeah. He's best plate blocker in Dodger history.
He gives Will the business at home plate and jacks up Will's knee and his leg. And I contend to this day, and I want to ask Will Clark this, I contend between those two plays, that's what turned him from a surefire Hall of Famer to, an all-star and a good player, and also why, his career was shorter than it could have been or should have been.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Scioscia could block the plate. Speaking of kids, you told me it's about taking your son Nathan to the game, watching JT Snow. JT Snow's best play by far was saving Dusty Baker's son from getting run over at home plate. Was that in the World Series?
Yeah, against the same Angels. Yeah, when he comes in, slides home, and then scoops up the kid because he's got someone coming in right behind him.
That's funny. That's very very funny because that's a game saving play, most definitely.
So
So
why? Go ahead.
go ahead. No, you can go.
No, I mean, you were there at the beginning. The Los Angeles, California Angels of Anaheim. I mean, and I would contend, if you grew up in Long Beach, it's a lot easier to get to Angel Stadium from Long Beach than it is to Chavez Ravine. So, you like the Angels. Tell us, just tell everybody how and why, that came about.
Well, I lived in Long Beach, and if you just went up, I think it was Spring Street, and Spring Street turned into Catella. I could have my streets a little wrong, maybe Palo Verde, I can't remember. But yeah, you're 20 minutes from Angel Stadium, and you're also short right near the Catella Deli, which had good sandwiches. And in my junior senior of high school, I must have gone to 20 games a year, and we tried to time it where we'd see Nolan pitch. And Nolan Ryan back then was amazing. And it was not uncommon. I have to look at the stats, and you probably know them or can find them, but I would guess in one of those years, I'd say half a dozen times he had a no-hitter going in the fifth inning, probably. I mean, he would mow guys down. And what we would do, Angels did not draw very many fans, so it was easy to get wherever you want to sit. So we would go behind the third base dugout right before the game started and watch him warm up. And the sound his ball made in the catcher's mitt was staggering. And it was just fun to watch. Now those Angel teams were really bad. I mean, Nolan was like a 500 pitcher maybe. That's because they had no offense, they had limited defense. But boy, watching him throw was great. Now by 79, 80, when they got good, I liked them. And one of my favorite Angels of all time was Don Baylor. They called him Groove, and he was, according to all accounts, a leader. I mean, he wasn't the best player. He wasn't a really good average hitter. I think that year he had a huge amount of ribbies, maybe 139. But if you watch the games like I did, every clutch time up, he came through. He was fearless. He would crowd the plate. Pitchers throw at him, he'd get hit. He just got down to first. I think he might be the all-time leader in getting hit by pitchers, or used to be. And he was just a tough, no nonsense guy that you could tell. I mean, it's one of those things. I remember reading a thing about the Knicks in the 70s, and Bill Bradley said, "Look, we're all really big adults, and we're these big guys, but we feel so much better when Willis Reed's out there because we know no one will mess with us no matter what. Willis is that tough." And I got the same feeling about the Angels with Don Baylor. I mean, he came through, and that year he was phenomenal. And they had some good players. They had, Bobby Grich, they had Doug DeSenses, they had all these guys, but Don Baylor was the man, and he was just a really, really good player that I really liked watching.
Don Baylor. So I mean, he was originally he was
Oriole,
Baltimore. So he and Grich were both originally Orioles.
they were buddies, yeah.
And I know you like having this discussion, but by WAR, Bobby Grich had the better season, arguably, in 1979 than Don Baylor, and arguably should have been MVP.
Don Baylor called Bobby Grich disco because he blew his disc lifting an air conditioner because he was so cheap.